Hello, I'm Anna Delman, and it is day number 80, and that's quite an achievement for me. I have for 80 days been on my little spike, writing a note and then sticking it down onto my little platform, and this is just a symbol to me of the platform, the foundation on which I am restructuring my life over 365 days and documenting it and sharing it publicly. So there it is. I'm on day number 80. And now yesterday, my note of encouragement was calling those things questionable, the ones that aren't really wonderful enough, learning to call them good. Not the icky thing good, but necessarily what we learn and how we grow and develop and change because of it, the good. And then the day before that, on day number 78, the focus was on joy, happiness, and gratitude. Now, as I've been thinking and meditating on that more for my own life, I realized in order to get to that position of calling the icky things, what we learn from it, good, and then experiencing joy, happiness, and gratitude, we don't become to be grateful for the icky things in life until we're able to acknowledge the reality of what has gone on. So my note to myself for today on day number 80 is acknowledgement. And in meditating on it and thinking through, looking up biblical definitions of the word acknowledgement, because that's on which my foundation is built, so I usually go there to look at the Hebrew and the Greek and if there are any usages of that word in the Bible that I can pick apart and understand. So acknowledgement is to become fully aware of something, to know what it is all about, to own it and claim it to be the reality. And in claiming it to be the reality, in the positive and the negative, don't deny something that's bad and horrible and an experience that was very negative. You own it. You say what it was, and you claim it. You say, this is what occurred and this is how bad it was. You acknowledge it, and then you discover in yourself how you changed because of it. And if you're just going through something right now that is horrible and bad and you don't know the way out and you're so sucked down into it and it's a black pit for you, and that's true. I've been there where things are so, your health is so bad you can barely function, but you clamor for each and every moment of goodness. That's the essence of what you need to do. You need to be clamoring, you need to be fighting, you need to be gripping and holding on to a greater truth beyond you. You need to acknowledge that you need something more than your own belief systems, your own functioning methodologies to be able to overcome, to be able to, once you've been through it, and even while you're going through it, being so grateful for that holding on, that gripping onto a reality far beyond who and what you are. So to become fully aware of and to own it, to own the truth and the reality of what it is, what you're experiencing, and always, please, the way out of it or the way continually through it. Sometimes changes don't come, and that's true. I was in bad health for years. I didn't think there would be solutions. There were, and as I was going through it, if that was my reality, I owned it and claimed it and was so grateful for the presence of God to sustain me through it. That can become your reality too, hard fought for, because you have to do in a moment by moment when you're in severe pain and you're medicated, you have to hold on to something greater than what you are. So we need to, once we are working through that and we moment by moment acknowledging, we have to say that truth to ourselves over and over and over until it becomes our first thought. First thought meaning our first thought in response when we're in a moment of doubting and questioning. And it doesn't mean you're not going to doubt and question. You will, you're going to, and possibly you are doing that right now. But what can the very next thought be? My reality is hard. It is difficult. This sucks. However, this is what I'm going to choose to think in response to that thought. How do you get that to be your first thought in response? Acknowledge your reality and then Acknowledge a positivity to help you through and beyond it. So then once we have come to that understanding to help us in acknowledging and working through patterns to overcome, we've got to focus on acceptance, embracing, receiving, and affirming the situation we're in, the situation we've worked through, and how we're going to overcome. Embrace the new thoughts that you want to discipline your mind to be the first response. Receive the information and the wisdom and the understanding, the knowledge to be able to activate that. Even if you have to write notes and stick it around, or put a rubber band around your wrist, something. Anything, little sensory things that can trigger and remind you if you're rubbing something. I've done that in the past, put a rubber band around my wrist. And even sometimes I've only had to do it for a day or 2 or 3, and it's been sufficient. Another thing I have, when I want to think of spiky things in life, this is a little ball. I bought it so many years ago, and as you can see, the air is going out. But this is a good thing when I'm meditating on something and I'm fidgety, I need to fidget with things. It's a texture, and it reminds me and helps me to change my focus, my mental grip, and I play with my little deflated ball. Just something simple. It works for me. Something different may work for you, and there's nothing wrong. If it's helpful, it's a good thing. Acknowledge it's helpful and step into it. So the recognition of all those things I have just mentioned are part of your acknowledging the need for them, the need for change, and acknowledging what you need to do to step out. And then I've mentioned we also need to have forbearance, which is self-control, restraint, tolerance, endurance, and courage in adversity. We all need to practice those things diligently. Self-control, when that thought comes to mind, or your hand goes out to reach for something that you shouldn't have in your hand, because the next thing after that thing being in your hand is something negative towards yourself, injurious to you, or whether you're going to put something in your mouth and you need to stop eating certain things. Self-control. Restraint. That's part of self-control. You learn to say firm no's to yourself, acknowledge your need for these boundaries and these disciplines in your life so that you can function better. Tolerance. Tolerate some things in your life. You are going to have moments where you are going to slip up. That doesn't mean it's the end of your endeavor. Acknowledge what occurred, plan for the next moment, and go back to the beginning and start again. Going back to the beginning is a sign of success. It's not a sign that you failed. It's a sign of redirecting you to what you know has worked well for you, and you do it again, over and over again, and until it becomes your new normal response in your mind, and that will affect your actions too. Endurance. Keep going. Keep doing it for the long term. Again, if you have a moment of weakness and you don't have the first thought coming into play right in that moment, it's not failure. You're recognizing something, acknowledge what occurred, the things that allowed you to get off your projection to whatever you were trying to achieve, and then you start again. As long as you keep going back to start again, you are winning, because it becomes new to you and then rehearsed, and it becomes over time a pattern of response. It doesn't mean that if you keep it up for 3 days and then you fail, that you're a failure. You succeeded for 3 days. You get up and you start again. Next time you may do it for 4. Next time you may do it for 6. You keep going. And then you have to have the courage in adversity, courage in those adverse moments to pick yourself up and say, this is true in what happened. Acknowledge the realities, friends. And that's how you keep going. So I hope that's of some help, and acknowledge today What can I acknowledge? My early morning need for a cup of coffee. It keeps me going, and I need it today because immune system is down. I have a boo-boo on my lip. I have been treating it for the past few days. There is flu going around in my community. Turtleneck today. It is 3 degrees centigrade, -3 centigrade, which I right now can't math to Fahrenheit. I've been in centigrade geographical locations for 12 years, so my Fahrenheit brain is not really switching over right now. But that is what it is. So it's cold and I need the coffee, acknowledging my need for that. And now I need to get down. It's early morning for me. Get acknowledging my realities and get busy living and get busy working. So take care, have a good day, and acknowledge your realities, the good, the bad, the ugly, in wherever you are, so that you too can change and grow. God bless. Bye-bye for now.